like to first of all introduce Sally Bridgewater, who's going to speak first. I'd like to welcome her to the stage. Please, everybody, give a nice warm welcome and some whoops and some claps, please. There we go, Sally.
Thank you.
The stage is yours.
Imagine you're a little kid, and the main thing that you know about yourself is that you annoy people. Imagine then that you go to school, and the first thing you learn there is that you're naughty. And that's because the teacher tells you off nearly every day. And every time the teacher does tell you off, you promise to them and to yourself that you will improve and you'll do better, and you mean it. But all that happens is that you lose a little bit more trust in yourself because you can never seem to keep those promises. Imagine living in a world where you are told you are lazy all the time, except you seem to be working harder than anybody else around you just to cope. Imagine having a dream, but knowing there's no point dreaming about anything, because if a project takes more than about an hour, you will never get it finished. Imagine having a brain that can only see about one day ahead, and after that the future is just fog. And all you can do is try to navigate through it towards your impossibly distant goals. That is what having ADHD is like. And ADHD is not a great name because it's not really about attention or hyperactivity nearly as much as it is about self-control. A better name would be executive function disorder because the frontal lobes of your brain behind your forehead just cannot do as well at guiding you to where you want to get to. So, if you have a brain which just cannot plan ahead, you might imagine that there are some serious consequences. This is just a nice top picks of a few things that are going to affect you because it just affects everything important in life. In fact, it's been called one of the most impairing outpatient mental disorders you can possibly have. However, we don't want to stay serious the whole time. I'm not going to be a downer the whole time I'm up here. I want to lighten the mood, so I would like to introduce my fiancée, Francis. On the left here, I know we both have brown curly hair in this picture, but Francis has ADHD, which is why I am here and I know so much about it. And of course he does struggle with it, but like anybody who has a disability, there is plenty other things to know about him. He is an amazing guitarist. He is great with words. He's good at cooking. He makes me laugh a lot, and of course I love him a lot. So. Just to give you a brief background on how we met at music A-level class, and it just went as normal really. He dropped out, I went to Cambridge, he got hit by a car, and I messaged him on Facebook. So just, classic love story really. But that's not the story we're going to focus on today. What I want to tell you about is what happened after I left university and we moved in together and embarked on our adult lives. So like many 20-somethings, we were pretty short on money. Francis was in a band, but that didn't earn much. So in between being unemployed, he did a string of not very nice minimum wage jobs. And meanwhile, I wasn't doing that much better. I was doing a bit of private tutoring and working part-time as an administrator. So that's pretty normal, I think. But on top of that, we had to deal with ADHD. And thank goodness that Francis was diagnosed young, and we knew what it was, and we could research and learn about it so that we could understand. Because if I didn't understand it, I don't know what I would have done, because ADHD challenges your sympathy on a daily basis. Living with ADHD looks like this. And this is the kind of level of mess that was just normal and just the average around most of the house. And actually, that gets quite wearing after a while. And there didn't seem to be much we could do about it, despite our best attempts. But I mean, more than that, more worryingly than that, there was the daily drinking. And even more worryingly than that, there was the lack of faith in himself, in our future, and any sense of adventure about what our lives could be like together. So, I was determined to help. I read a lot of self-help books as a child. I was sure I could help. I tried everything. We did to-do lists, plans, schedules, calendars, websites, apps, habit tracking, you name it. every so often we would have a big marathon cleanup and make everything lovely again and ordered. And it would last about 2 days. We even got a filing cabinet, and we even used it, and it still didn't have much impact on how we lived our lives and how organised we were. So, after a couple of years, we were both feeling pretty disheartened about this, and I certainly felt like I had tried everything I could think of. So I thought the best I could do in this situation was to focus on helping myself. So I spent a year and I learnt to code, and I got myself a job this summer at Sky as a software developer. And this is where Agile comes in, because for the first day of being at Sky, the very first thing they trained us about was this thing called Agile and Scrum and the Scrum framework. And basically, when I got home that night, I was just buzzing, and I went straight to Francis and I was like, we have to do this. I couldn't believe this existed, and I'd never heard about it. It was like the whole structure that everything else could fit inside. So we got started, but I've got to say here, full credit to Francis, because a person who has a lifetime's worth of evidence that nothing that they ever do will ever stick has plenty of reason to be cynical about trying something else that is new and hard. But we went at it with a leap of faith, basically. This has sort of felt like a desperate attempt to make this work. We cleared a tiny corner of our desk and started writing post-it notes. And all of these post-it notes are for breaking down the task of getting a corkboard onto the wall. And we'd had that corkboard for 3 years, and we'd never got around to putting it on the wall. But with this new burst of purpose, within 3 days, it was up. We had our Scrum board and our columns, and we had the space to try and put the system into use. So it felt like a victory, but of course we hadn't even started. And anyone can stick to something for a few weeks, but we had no idea whether we could make it work. But I'm very happy to say that 5 months later, we are still going strong. And we've done over 10 sprints now. We have refined our system a lot. We've got colour coding, we've got repeated tasks, we've got a burn up chart instead of a burn down chart, because Francis thought that was boring. We've got the whole lot. It keeps on organically just getting better and better. And we are starting to see results as well. So this is a kitchen rotor that's Francis' own idea, and that's to keep the kitchen clean. In fact, the whole house has stayed consistently cleaner than it ever has before, despite me being at work all the time. And bigger achievements than that are the things like Francis has quit smoking. We have started to be able to think a little bit bigger in our ambitions and started a whole house clear out. I admit we haven't finished, but we will. We've even tackled the nemesis of all ADHD people, which is wedding planning. We're sharing that and organising that together. And as far as adventure goes, I can't complain at all, because next month we're going to Vietnam for an early honeymoon, and Francis has taken on most of the organising for that as well. So I think, apart from all that, probably the most important thing is that we've uncovered a bit of stability for Francis. And for the first time ever, he has started to begin to trust himself that it might be worth thinking about things like career choices and what he could do in the future. It might not be stupid to think that he may be able to make that happen. And I think it's crucial for anyone's mental health to believe in themselves a little bit. And that is what Agile has given us. So I wanted to come today and tell you about this. I've started a little blog. I would like to make sure that anybody else out there who could benefit will from it. And just to let you all know that Agile is more than just a fancy way to make work more efficient. It can actually be life-changing for people with this debilitating disorder. So thank you very much. I would love to hear from anyone who's interested in talking to me about that or knows anyone who could benefit from it. Thank you.